We are back to steady rotation, back from wherever we were. I know it was been a while. We were a little bit MIA, but now that Queso got his transplant, I think he can kind of live now and go about his days.
Yeah,
So
man. Just a little bit of straightening. Not, like Migo said, nothing more than a little bit of straightening.
first you got to straighten. Um, so yeah, I just think off the bat, man, like with this whole rollout with Isaiah Rashad has just been I don't know. It's essentially fumbling the bag, but at a whole different level at this point.
Okay,
Um,
before we even talk about 2021, let's go back a year ago. Remember TDE Appreciation Week? A great week, by the way, for TDE fans. Absol dropped an amazing song.
right.
Sir had phenomenal songs. Zachary dropped dope ass fire songs. He even had my boy Lance Skywalker. Don't sleep on him. Who went out of the cave, dropped two random Lucy's, and then disappeared. And then we had the song "No Worries" by Isaiah Rashad. As someone who's been fiending for new music ever since the Sun's Tirade,
Yeah,
I was excited for that single. I listened to it, and I was disappointed, to be honest with you. And to
yeah,
be honest, it's not that the song was bad in any means. It was more of the anticipation level of this man hasn't dropped music, what, 3, 4 years at that point? And then the first thing that he drops is like a random Lucy back from 2017. Because if you're like into the whole IG streams that he does, you kind of heard the snippet before. So this wasn't like anything new off the tuck.
sure.
But like since it was again not technically his single release, but more of a TDE thing, I didn't view that as any marks against Zaywap. I just said, you know what? I personally don't care for the song like that.
And
I'll just go
come
back to
back to the
his.
point in the fact that this is TDE's decision to drop this. It's not really Isaiah's. Like I kind of like that song. I didn't mind it. I thought it was actually, he got my, juices going a little bit. I was a little hyped. I'm not gonna lie. But the fact that TDE was behind that whole week um, you know, kind of like helped me and kind of like, all right, this is just this week. I'm not expecting anything. I haven't expected anything. It's 2020. I haven't expected anything in 3 years. Maybe something
Yeah.
will happen in the next few months.
So now it's 2021. The world's opening back up. The science experiment's almost ending. We get the stimmies going. We balling out here. We're chilling. Next thing I know, the homies are letting me know that Zaywap is dropping a single. And honestly, I wasn't having none of it. I thought they were trolling me for the biggest time. Like, bro, don't play with my heart right now. Like, I would love some Zaywap, but don't lie to me. Then we get Lay With You. How are we feeling about the first official single of Zaywap since the Sun's Tirade?
Um, on first listen, I was like, okay, I like this. Not like I love this. This is what I've been waiting for. Like, you know, I almost think, I know we might be getting a little ahead of ourselves. I almost think if he dropped headshots first and then lay with you, I think that would have been better. And maybe like because I know we're both at the crossroads with both singles. We're just like we're like they're both kind of questionable. But I almost think that like if he had dropped headshots first, it would have been better. But whatever. Lay with you, it definitely has that bump in the whip factor. It does
All
get
right,
you.
FIFO. Okay, FIFO.
Video is excellent. I love the music video. Um, Duke Deuce comes through. I think he brings that hype energy. But for some reason on that song, dude, like it's a very it's essentially a banger, but Rashad just kind of brings it down a little bit. He- with not essentially the lyrics, but how he's delivering it. It's like, just can I lay with y'all? Big
Yeah.
deal and the da da da. And then cold piece of work whipping the shirt. Then it starts to get a little bit hype. But I felt like he
You.
could have done a little bit more with that, took it a little bit further. But then it just goes back into the chorus, and then Duke Juice comes in and kind of
What
saves
the
the day a little.
fuck?
And then it's over. And then you're like, okay, okay, that's a little taste, I guess. So,
All right, so I'm gonna give you my perspective, right? So remember, I listened to Why Worry. At that time, I was like, I don't need this. So I was listening to Lay With You with, definitely anticipation, making sure that like Zaywap still got it. First and foremost, the instrumentation. Come on now, we're not gonna sleep on 666 right now. Like phenomenal beat work. So then afterwards, I was wondering. So afterwards, like listening to the beat, obviously, like my head was nodding. And I was listening to the hook, and I'm like, I'm feeling this. Zaywap is saying, cold piece of work, whipping up the surf, I'll be sipping on that. I was like, okay, Zay, I see you. Okay. Like he's bringing the energy that I personally can vibe with heavy because one, obviously, like I said, it's a banger. But two, this is very reminiscent of the song a lot off this song Sarade, if you remember that song. And that's low-key like one of my favorite songs on that tape. So I'm already I'm feeling the man's verse. I'm feeling the verse. It felt a little short to me, but it's all right, cool. Then Duke Deuce comes in. I didn't really have any high hopes for him, but honestly, his verse was very animated, and I can truly say he was the standout, performance of that song. Just how he started like flipping the verses, flipping the flows, him dancing in the music videos is very entertaining to watch and see. And then the chorus goes back in. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm feeling this. And for whatever reason, I expected like a second verse because Zay essentially gave us like a cool 8-bar verse. Cool. I was like, all right, bro, like bless us with some more. But it's like, nah, that's it. So I can definitely say that for what I quote unquote go to for Zay, it wasn't necessarily like like a 10 out of 10. But the song itself for me really reached like a solid 8.5 in terms of enjoyability. And then the more that I listened to it, obviously because of Brain, the more that I really just rocked with it. Because at that point, I recognized that this song played the singles angle really well. If you barely know Zaywap, like if this song brought a vibe that was similar to some of Zay's older works, therefore this didn't feel out of pocket for what he would drop. And for a single, this really just made a lot of sense. Yeah. And obviously, and I'll even say like if you work out to the song, it's gonna hit different. But that's obviously like an environmental thing.
no, yeah, definitely. It has that when I thought of looking back at it, like when I first heard it, like yeah, that comparison to a lot is pretty accurate. Um, and also like yeah, I think I kept listening to it and I was like, I enjoy this, man. Like it's not like anything like substantial here, anything like that's like, gonna change my like perspective on his abilities in terms of like spitting. But like this is a fun track and I don't mind fun tracks. I don't mind like dope production, chilling on the beat, rapping over the beat, having people go, a little crazy like in Duke Deuce's case. And then kind of jumping in and jumping right out,
It was dope. It really was nice. The only thing, like, I do agree is that he was very much in, like, I liked so like I said, Duke Deuce was definitely the standout performance, but I don't think that Zay was a weak link. I just thought that Zay was very much stuck in the flow pattern within his verse, rather than I felt like he could have been a little bit more animated or could have like broken out of that structure just a little bit. It definitely felt like he was just like doing like he was definitely like laid back in his chair, keeping it low key, which was cool because it worked out vibe wise for what I liked from Zay. But I would have liked to seen him, bust out a little bit more of his toolkit because he has an expansive repertoire in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. But then, fast forwarding, like that whole month, in terms of May and June, I think Rashad was coming around the circuit in terms of the media circuit, hyping up, I think it was in the Fader magazine that he kind of like talked about, being excited for his new album rolling out and giving us an idea of when it would come out in terms of, the month of June. And, that built up hype, like I think I started to get excited, it's finally coming. Obviously, yes, I'll believe it when I'm actually pressing play and I'll hear the lyrics and the whatever song he decides to put on. But now we have like an idea. We haven't gotten anything over the past 2, 3 years, 4 years about any kind of music dropping. And then, nothing really kind of happens. The whole
no. You got to remember. Don't forget the cave now. Don't forget the cave episode.
oh my god.
how do we feel about the cave episode? Because that's part of the promo, the promo, circuit. If you think about it,
Just underwhelming, very underwhelming.
it felt amateurish to me. It was weird. Like I trust in Sir Kenneth's beat production. The beat was phenomenal, and I can sort of see what Zay was trying to go for, but it felt amateurish. Like let me just say that video definitely kind of dampened my hype levels a little
Yeah,
bit because it's like
lame, and
the cave episodes are dope. You see your favorite rapper freestyling, and if someone says to myself who likes the whole rapping thing, it's like, all right, cool, like Zay's gonna rip it, and instead he was on Nyquil or something.
yeah. What like why did you even drop it? Like like from Rashad's standpoint, it's like if I mean I guess it's not really his video to drop, but like if I look at that video and I'm Rashad, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like what is the benefit of putting this out there? You know,
Re-record.
people were expecting that episode, a year ago. People were really hyped about that episode, and then it never happened. And then it was just like, oh, here we go. This is another chapter in Rashad's like whole rollout of the house is burning. This is another thing to add on. Yeah, I mean, and then headshots for the locals drop.
No,
Uh,
see, you can't. You got to remember 200 slash warning before the headshots, bro.
mm,
How do you feel about that one? Because that's essentially a leaked song that they decided to give to the fans. Because I heard initially it was going to be on the album, but then last minute they decided, you know what, we're not going to leave it on the album. But then it got leaked, so then they just said, let's put it on the official TDE YouTube page, so at least they can feed the fans.
yeah, I think that's what it did. I think it just held us over another bit. Um, I don't think it really added anything. You know,
See, see,
I
it's
didn't hate it.
interesting to me because obviously, I mean, it sounds like two songs, spliced together, right? Warning slash 200.
Yeah,
So I'm curious to see if 200, if that, single or, that release or leak it was the first release rather than doing Late with You. I'm very curious to see how people would have gravitated towards a song because to me, the first half had the vibe perfect. I was feeling it. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I couldn't understand shit he was saying. And I mean, like literally, I could not like his words were inaudible. It sounded like some mumble rap. And while Zay definitely makes music for the vibers, you usually can make out what he's trying to say. So this is like an interesting listen to see sort of having this release drop after the cave episode or bombing. I was kind of getting a little worried now about
no,
where Zay was gonna go with his music, right?
it's very
It's
much pause for
just a little bit. But then like you listen to 200, I'm all right, okay, like he's fuck it till give these hoes a warning. Never gave me my heart got chunks missing, my heart pump venom. Like, and I was like, okay. So like clearly he knows how to rap still, and this beat is fire. So then at that point, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna take this again. Freebie, just kind of like like the same way like with Why Worry. This is for the fans. Take it or leave it, but this is not part of the album. So just more music for those who like it, take it. For those who don't. The interesting part though is that once I started listening to Warning 200, I went back to Why Worry. And then I started like actually low-key bumping with the song a little bit more. I started recognizing it's really just like improved Sylvia Demo production with some tirades lyrics if you really think about it. Which is, me just making associations about the music that I like from there. Take what you will out of that.
yeah. It's actually kind of interesting that in terms of like the Sylvia demo, like kind of sound like yeah, there's a lot of parallels here, but then it's like, but are we improving on that sound? Because that sound was very much like holy shit, like Isaiah Rashad coming up with Sylvia demo tape, and that drops. You're like, this is definitely music for the vibers, right? The production on here, the lyrics, features, everything, front to back. I don't want to say perfect project, but that's in terms of a standalone project. Like that is such a great, you know,
I
piece
don't
of
think it could.
for
I
your
don't think it could do any better than have that as be your debut work. To be honest with you, obviously it's not the best thing ever, but
exactly. But then
sheesh.
like now you bring up this comparison a little bit, and I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, it does like these not really lay with you, but like these 200 warning and headshots, like it definitely has that sound from back then a little bit. But then it's like, so why are we reaching all the way back there and not building off of the sun's tirade? And and if this is the case that you want to like maybe revisit some of those, earlier days, the Sylvia demo days and really trying to build on it, like, are you doing that though? Are these last two, well, 200's not really a single. It's like if it's going to be on the album or not, we'll see. But like, are these really like would these singles fit on or work on the Sylvia demo tape? You know, I don't know. I don't think so, honestly. I don't think I'd be I don't think I'd be listening to them over like, Heavenly Father or like Brad Jordan
Modest,
or
modest.
Barry, you know,
R.I.P.
yeah, R.I.P. Kevin Miller. Like I don't these songs don't these songs would definitely be on the bottom half of that project if they're on there.
The B
Now,
sides.
yeah. Now to say like am I exactly saying like these two singles are, exactly like Sylvia demo sound? No, no. The production is a little bit more clean. It definitely does kind of bring you back there when you kind of listen to those two songs. Um, and for the locals, like I did like that song, man. Like
Oh, we talking about headshots now? We're going now to headshots.
yeah,
Okay,
I,
okay, all right.
yeah, I like it. I like it more than Play With You. I liked it a lot of more off the bat. It's a very like to me the sound and yeah the lyrics and the samples on there. I don't know if it's necessarily a sample or just a vocal um, add in, but it's like one of those songs that you can kind of just like turn off your brain a little bit too and just vibe to.
Ah.
So, yeah.
I hear you, man. See, I remember, again, as a Zay fiend, I remember randomly hearing the snippet of the song once, like, back in 2019. So, like, I definitely had heard the song a little bit, but I wasn't the type of guy to replay it. I just heard it once, sounded amazing, and I left it be. And then I watched one of his interviews, during the rollout process saying, like, yo, this is the one. Like, this is the one the fans have been asking for. So I'm like, oh, shit. Like, he's listening to the fans and giving the fans the leaks or the IG snippets that they wanted. So I hear the song, right? First song, like the beats coming in. In fact, like just as a disclaimer, I played the song with the visualizer on Zay's original the YouTube channel, rather than just the song itself. So a little bit of a visual accompaniment. But anyways, the beat goes in. I'm like, my surprise and my brand new whip. I'm like, oh, praise Zay, he's bringing in the soul. Then he's going with his verse. Verse one, smooth as hell. Like he's clearly having fun and in a nice little pocket on bounce. He plays in this verse goes, the hook comes again, and then the second verse comes in. And it's not a bad second verse, first and foremost. We're not gonna ultimately the song is fire. I'm gonna give it a B plus, honestly, this fire. But the second verse to me felt underwritten or underwhelming, almost as if that he kind of like just filled in trying to fill in words to fill in the gap rather than
I think if you watch the Genius lyric video that goes with it, he talks about like how the song can be interpreted in three different ways in terms of the shots. Like literally like taking a shot of alcohol, taking a shot to the head. I forget the other one. I think it's also like related to like maybe someone that gets shot in the head, something like that. But I think he like yeah, like the verses, especially the second one, was a little bit lacking. And I don't know if he had in mind like going into writing this song, like oh, like these three ideas, and I have this concept of these shots and headshots, and like left the lyrics a little bit too open, so they're not so concise, and they don't really drive home maybe the meaning or the point of the lyrics that he wants to kind of show us, because it's going in so many directions. It's just like, I think either one he could have picked and just really built off of that. And instead of like trying to be like, yeah, there's like kind of like three meanings, maybe four meanings under these lyrics. And it's like, I mean, this song's not even like all that to really like for me to be like, man, I gotta find the lyrics in this one. This one's gonna put me through the loop. I gotta get to the bottom of these lyrics. Like, no, like I listened to that song, for the sound of it, got the right vibe. But if you really were to critique it, like on the level that you are, I think, which is fine. Like yeah, like it is a little bit underwhelming towards the back half of the song. You
See,
know,
and first and foremost, I think you and I can both agree and say that Zay is not the type of artist that you would necessarily go to, I guess, break down the lyrics. I don't think that that's the aesthetic that Zay. I feel like his music is pretty easy to understand. I think it's just
yeah,
that
straightforward.
this it's very straightforward. Just that the sonics has a nice contrast with the, I guess, the seriousness and dark tone of the music. Because you can listen to the music just on a surface level and be like, "Yo, this is bopping," but when you actually pay attention to what Zay's saying,
Yeah,
there's obviously a darker tone to it. In fact, the line that still stood out to me is like, "The shots ain't bringing my soldiers back." I'm like, "Damn, Zay." And I was like, I remember noticing it, paying attention to that lyric before watching the Genius breakdown. So I just, like obviously Zay always got those little nuggets, like little nuggets of personal storytelling in there. It was
yeah,
just a situation where, and again, this goes into expectation. So I do recognize if I never saw that interview about him talking about that song, if I never heard, say the IG snippet or whatever, or my own personal standards, I might have interpreted stuff differently. But this song to me could have been, let's say, like the amazing, like most like the undeniable track of the album, but instead it feels like a really good interlude, if you know what I mean. It
yeah.
does what it does well, but it definitely feels like it kind of stopped halfway through from being something amazing. And maybe a feature verse could have helped. Maybe him being more a little bit more, like you said, a little bit more tight within the concept that he's writing, whatever. Because instead now it just feels like a really vibing track that has some cool moments, but it's not something that, like you said, I would be able to break down and feel like I gained substance out of it based off of outside of the
Yeah.
interesting concept of the dichotomy of shots or headshots.
There are a couple lyrics in that song, man, that I think point to like what has been happening, maybe throughout his life, but maybe specifically in these past 4 years, especially like, what the lyric about like, the weed smoke's not doing anything for the pain, and
Bang,
then,
bang,
talking about like, the lyric that you brought up.
lane. Swang, 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 swang. And look, I had no issue when we did that, by the way. Like, I don't know if you like, our boy Edward, aka Captain Kirk, he hated that part. He felt like, like the engineer or whatever should have like cut off that verse and said, try again. I have no issue with the man doing the repeat. I'm just saying, like, look, if you're gonna take that approach, at least sonically keep having a little bit of a variation in the beat. So what I would have liked if he did like lane, and then like a background vocal said switch, and then it says swang, 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 or whatever. Because I definitely noticed there were some pockets where he could have said something, but did let the beat right out, and it's like the beat's phenomenal, but like they like I
Yeah.
want to hear you
I don't know. I think the hardest hitting parts of the song, there
or the
aren't
beat.
any parts in the lyrics that he comes up with, but the parts that do come through, like that make you like kind of like, like actually appreciate what he's spitting, you know, they're not all over the track. And that's I think really crazy to me because, you know, we're both big Rashad fans, right? But to kind of be talking like this on an album we've been waiting for 4 years. And at this point, it's like, holy shit, like, is he really gonna drop a shit album? That's like my biggest worry. And it sucks, man, because like Sun's tirade, like going from there, like you could only go up. From an artist like Rashad, man, I could never see him like failing at his next project from that point on. But yes, I get it. There's been a lot of things going on in his life. Maybe some of this stuff going on with his family, is his kids, rehab. Yeah, that might have sidetracked a lot of the things. And I know like you got more important things to kind of like focus on at that point in your life. But now we're back in the studio. Um, what are we doing here, man? Like it's a bit scary. It like at the end of the day, when July 30th comes around, I'm gonna listen to the album and I'll probably love it. But when you're behind an artist like this, and you have such a investment in it over these few, like not even a few years, several years, man.
Damn near 5, bro. Almost
What
half a decade.
on a label like TDE, you want to see them go above and beyond. We saw it with Schoolboy Q, kind of go from all his mixtapes to hitting us up with Oxymoron, like, and then just going up there. Kendrick did the same. J Rock, even to a smaller degree, kind of did the same as well. Maybe he went a little bit more commercial, but at the same time, like he was the first artist to be signed on TD. He's put in the work. Yeah, give him his bread, man. Like he
And
deserves
he's
to.
also got a Grammy.
Yeah. Um, Absol, well, whatever. Says as
Sir. No, you can't just say whatever to the solo hole.
oh, I'm just talking about in terms of career trajectories here. Soul is on ice right now, so I don't want to speak on that until something happens with him. So I'm not even gonna open up that can of worms. But yeah, with Rashad, man, just like looking at his career and like just like man, like what could have been? I guess maybe he can catch up to time lost. Is that worth it? I don't know. Maybe that's just being selfish, coming from a fan. And hopefully with this album, like I just hope he just proves everybody wrong. I just hope maybe like these two songs, maybe three, are just really not indicative of the quality that he wants to put out or that TDE wants to put out in this project.
I mean, see, there's something obviously that we should. Well, let me give you my personal experience with Isaiah Rashad. So, randomly, some friend of mine told me, "Oh, you know about Isaiah Rashad?" I'm like, "Nah, like he's that random dude on the TD freestyle cipher. Like he dropped an album. I'm like, all right, cool." So I'm checking out Sylvia Demos like 2014, 2015. It's like back right before the streaming days, but like YouTube used to have all the good leaks. I mean, or like the full YouTube albums. I remember listening to the album, and to be honest with you, and again, this might just be me, or this might be me on my elitist like wave at the time. I was listening to the music and I said, all right, this is definitely good, solid music. But it didn't like nothing necessarily grabbed my attention outside of me just being able to compliment it until Heavenly Father showed up. Once I heard that song, I don't know, maybe I was going through something, or maybe this resonated with me on a personal level during my past times. It was like, yo, this man is spitting. And then I remember listening to Sylvia Demo some more and then actually really, digesting his lyrics. Because I'm not the type of guy who like gets all the lines on the first listen. I'm the type of dude who kind of usually goes more for sonical and vibe check. Not in the auto tune sense, but just more in the musicality sense, whatever that means. And then Sunset Rate's coming out. I remember he dropped two singles. He dropped Nelly. I did not care for that song whatsoever, but it was a slow tempo song. It wasn't bad. It was just like I want something more hype. And then he dropped Smile. I'm like, all right, Smile's heat, gasoline. And then he also dropped like another song. I think it's called White Walls, if you may remember. It was like I think like promo material. It might have been a leak, but I remember seeing it like on the TD like YouTube page at one point. Anyways, I listened to Sun's Tirade, and I remember the first time I listened to it, I was like, all right, this is definitely good, but not better than Sylvia Demo. So I just kind of went back to Syl. But then over the years, I kept listening to Sun's Tirade and recognized, okay, no, there's actually something here. He definitely changed his production style from Sylvia to Sun's, but like the writing is still on point. What he's trying to do is hitting, and the songs that I didn't care for, which is more towards like the last third of the album, they weren't even bad songs. It was just more again like what I like Zay to do. He didn't do that when he started doing the doesn't matter stuff with oh different roads ways. You remember that song?
Mhm.
Yeah, no. I personally would have preferred Why Worry instead of that song, if you know what I mean. But that being said, that Zay, what's interesting to me, my relationship with Zay is that the more that I listen to his music, the more that I grow with it. In fact, I even said it to yourself that earlier, once I was listening to Why Worry this year, after these new singles came, I came to have a deeper appreciation for his music. Now, obviously, that sounds like I'm caping for the man and saying like, "Oh, the music's fire. You're just not listening to it right." No, that's not what I'm saying. The concerns that you've displayed and some of our fellow TDE friends have displayed are very real. And to be honest with you, like again, whenever I think about that cave episode, I'm still questioning to myself, like, am I missing something? Like, did he say like a fire ass line that I didn't pick up? Is the flow like 4-dimensional? Like, are my ears like not there? Because did it not sound right to me, or did not sound
Yeah.
it's not amateurish. But with that being said, I enjoyed the singles that we received. Laywoodger is personally I still prefer Laywoodger over Headshots only because I think that Laywoodger executed on its idea concept better. I feel like as a
Yeah.
banger, it just hits. It does what it does. Yeah, I'd like him to rap more, but it's also in the age and era that we live in, the
No.
short and sweet approach makes a lot more sense, right?
Yeah.
And like Duke Deuce again, like he definitely added to the track. And then Headshots, I can appreciate Headshots. Like you said, it's a great vibe track. In fact, I'll even say this: if Headshots is not a single, if we listen to Headshots in the context of the album, I genuinely think that we might have taken it a lot different. Like I think we would have a different appreciation for it.
Honestly,
So
I
in
might,
the same way how like so what?
I might agree with you on that.
That's something to think about because there's a song on a Sylvia demo, the one with what the Sid the Kid is it Silk Sonic, I think.
On Sylvia demo.
No, I'm sorry, no, Sunset Raid, the one with Sid the Kid. It's
Uh,
like I think is it like Silk Sonic?
Silk the Shocker.
Oh, Silk the Shocker. Excuse me, Silk the Shocker. So I know if let's say that was a single for Sun's Tirade when during the like album rollout, I would have kind of been like, okay, but that's not to speak on the quality of the song. It just speaks more towards the expectation that I have quote unquote for singles and for the artist. So I'll simply say this: once when Laywager came out, and we're in album rolling mode, I was excited for new music. He kind of fumbled the bag in terms of the hype levels. It definitely did my fire to the point where now I'm not like I'm not even waiting for his music like that because I was really ready for June. In fact, my boy was making fun of me saying, "Yo, it's coming on June 31st." I'm like, "Yo, dope." Until I realized, oh wait,
June 31st. Either dumb or fucking with you.
but then we realized, well, it never came in June, and I was
Yeah,
really mad. So like,
bro.
look, so what?
June 31st. It dropped June 31st.
Hey man, send me a copy. But with that being said, when the album drops, I'm gonna give it a fair listen.
Yeah.
It might surpass my expectations. It might even be better than everything he's dropped before. I can simply say that the singles he's dropped so far feel very. The singles are not didn't have not bestowed hope in me, but I also know just by my musical relationship with Isaiah Rashad, where I grow with his music, or I listen to it more and more, and I can appreciate it. It might be something. It might be a slow burn. The house might be burning slow. That's
Yeah.
my quick take on that.
Yeah. I mean, with all that being said, you know, to just kind of maybe like wrap this up about Rashad, just because, man, like Sylvia Demo, like was such a I think at that time such a just knocked out of the park, right? Just
Bro,
something
he made his
hidden
own
gem.
lane for
Yeah,
type beats. He made his
yeah.
own lane for type beats.
It's really like I think in terms of like I don't want to say maybe lo-fi, but like he's definitely has that lane carved out for him. He's probably at the top. Maybe it's not the most popular or like biggest subgenre of hip hop, but he's definitely like the top artist coming out of that lane, I think. But given that, a lot of the subject topics, a lot of the beats, a lot of the production, a lot of the lyrics off of Celia demo, it stays with you. Sun's tirade comes around, it's a little bit more refined, but maybe some of the subject matters and lyrics are, kind of dialed down a little bit, I think. Um, not like watered down or anything, but I just think, he's a little bit older. Some things are a little bit different for him. But then like these last two lyrics, it's not two songs. It's such a weird trajectory to go from Sylvia Demo to Sun's Tirade and then to these two singles because it would make more sense maybe from a career to go the opposite way. Um, but then it's like you think about the stuff that he's gone through over the past 4 years, like maybe bring that a bit into the lyrics. Maybe like not that I'm like looking for like an excuse or an explanation from him, but man, like you went through a lot. Like you've kind of talked about the stuff that you've gone through in your life, like on Sylvia Demo heavily, Sun Tirade to like a large extent. But now we get like two lyrics and headshots for the locals, and that's it. I don't really. It confuses me a little bit just because it's like why are we putting this out? You know, in terms of like your leading singles to your album that your fans have been waiting for. And I wouldn't even want to say like Rashad fans, like TDE fans. Like I think at a general level want to hear Rashad. You know, there hasn't been anything since major since, you know, uh, Damn or, Schoolboy Q's best album.
Bro,
Um,
how you better disrespect Reason like that?
Come on, man. This is not. I'm very honest, man. Like we're not even. We're not talking about C tier TDE members right now.
That's a conversation for another day, sir.
Not
We're gonna
saying they're
put
bad.
that in the pocket. We're
I'm
gonna put
not
that in the
saying,
pocket.
I'm not saying they're bad. I definitely do appreciate the music that they put out, but you know, they're at the back end of the catalog for TDE. We're talking about Isaiah Rashad. You know, does he have the ability to bring himself up another tier, or is he going to kind of like stay at this level? Is he comfortable? Does he want to stay at this level? Like, does he really want to push himself? I know, like, yeah, maybe life's been pretty brutal for him in the past 4 years, but you know, what kind of what kind of career do you want to have at this point? What kind of music do you want to put out? And I think we'll get a good indicator with this album because this is really, I think, going to make or break him. Um, because he drops this, are we really going to expect another project from him? Anytime soon after that? Hell no. This is it, man. This is going to be your project. This is going to be it. And the reason that we're talking about this is these two singles are not that great. They're not terrible. They're not that great. And if these were the two things that you wanted to show us about your new upcoming project and you're cool with that, then it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Damn, bro, you're breaking my
I'm,
heart.
my expectations, I can't lower my expectations. I can't
No, 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 nor should you. Nor should you.
My expectations are very high. I'm not gonna lie. 4 years, like, come on, man. Like, I'm expecting heat. Like, I'm not gonna be cool. I'll be cool with whatever you drop, man. Like, as long as it's not like, like fucking just garbage. Like, I'm sure TD would never do that. I'm sure Isaiah would never do that as well. You know, I guess, to sound a little like corny, I just want the best for him. Maybe he's cool with these singles. Maybe he's happy with that. If he's happy with that, then I'll come around to being happy for him someday. But
You sound like Melvin right there. I mean, look,
then
I'll
it's like,
say this, right?
bro. But then it's like you look at a guy like Tyler the Creator, man. Coming out at the same. They both came up at the same time, kind of relatively speaking. I think Rashad came out a little bit later, but I think that's just because Tyler started earlier and was making more of a wave for himself with Odd Future. You know,
Left. Yeah.
in Maine,
See,
he rolls a whole album out, and first week, 100 plus K album sales, like with minimal advertising for the album, dropping music videos of, I guess, maybe like the singles that he wanted to show. They're not even the full songs. Like, and I don't want to compare them because they're not really that similar at all. Um, which is really like looking at that and then like, having like Tyler fans like eat 3 whole albums in the span that Sun's tirade up till House is burning, you know, is is
hey
crazy.
man, hey man, look, these are my final notes on my boy Zay, and then I want to touch on T a little bit, right? So obviously, because we're TDE fans, you expect a high caliber of music. Because the reality is that I don't think TDE has ever dropped what I would say is a bad project. I think that it might drop projects that are below quote unquote the TDE standard, but I
Uh-huh.
don't think that any of the music that left that camp has ever been quote unquote bad per se.
Sure. Yeah.
With Zay, when I look at Zay in the situations, and again, like you said, right, like if he steadily dropped albums, let's say every 2 3 years, like the typical artist rollout, we probably wouldn't have this discussion because he would steadily be building his catalog. But obviously, due to the hiatus, for again personal reasons and all that stuff, things are a little bit. He's right now he's in the Jay Electronica situation, for lack of a better term. People have been waiting to see what he's going to be dropping. The industry itself has changed. The sound landscape has changed, and we don't know if he will deliver. But I'm just gonna wait. Who knows? He might even not even drop the album in July. He might drop it in 2023 because
Yeah,
TD does some funny games. But
yeah.
shout out to my boy Tyler, whatever the last name is, Byler, whatever, Wolfie though, because
Baudelaire,
Baudelaire Wolfie though, because
the new persona and Tyler's catalog.
and
Wolf
can we
Bailey,
just
Ace the
appreciate
Creator, Igor, Wolf.
Wolf, Dr. TC? Don't forget Dr. TC. You know,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Ace the Creator,
Ace the Creator. Now we got Sir Baudelaire.
or Bunny Hop.
Um, yeah, this is looking to be probably the top. I mean, I think we could throw in the J. Cole project in there as well. I do think that deserves some respect. But in terms of, you know, top line albums in terms of hip hop that have dropped this year, it's up there. You know, I, I was not expecting this album to be so good in the fact that he brought it back, man. He brought it back,
Oh, just
and still like keeping up and still progressing a little. Not, I don't know if he progressed a whole lot, but he kind of maintained like his flow of like what he's doing now with his sound, in a song like Safari, um, or like
bro,
Court. Like it's still he's still making like moves and improving on his sound. I think that's what I'm trying to say. He went back a little bit with the bars, even going back as so far as to bring Damo back, but he still is improving. So he's mad.
look, bro, look, just give me 2 minutes to gush over this album real quick. So like, Tyler,
What?
first and foremost, Tyler just gives an album in 2 weeks, right? Like he says, "Hey, I'm dropping something." He drops a single, and the next week he drops the album. TD, please listen to this. We're not in the age where you can just be doing like month rollouts. Like it's a little different, but he then drops the album, right? I like the single. It's cool, like Lumberjack, like I like the song. It's cool. Like DJ Drama was a little bit loud. But I was like, cool, like Gangsta Grills. I didn't really think too much about it. He drops he drops the album and like because again coming from Igor and even Flower Boy a little bit, I didn't really think Tyler was gonna be rapping. So even though that Lumberjack he was rapping, I just figured, oh, that might be like the one rap song, kind of like Who Dat Boy or I Ain't Got Time on Flower Boy.
Yeah.
And then like you just press play on the album, like hold up, this man is like rapping. Like this is Wolf days. This is like high school, early college days again, Tyler. I'm like, okay. And then you listen to the production obviously evolving. Like he went back to some of the production styles from Wolf and Cherry Bomb, but he used the techniques he learned from Flower Boy and Igor to some degree to just make sure that the production just hits. And then the singles, the features that he added on the album, because I didn't know 42 Dugg before this tape. I didn't really know how Young Boy was gonna like hit that song, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So just hearing these features, these features is like really killing it. And then, bro, the song with him and Lil Wayne.
Desert Eagle and Wings.
Bro, we need Tyler to produce a whole Lil Wayne tape. Could be 4 songs, 6 songs, 8. I don't care. I just need Tyler and Wayne in the studio together.
Great songs. It doesn't have to be 20. Like it can be 6 to 8. I could do. Give me that.
Yet Smuckers, remember that song back with the Cherry Bomb, supposedly Tyler's worst album? That's still a hip hop classic in my book, bro.
Yeah, I think it's a very underrated track. No one talks about it, and it's probably like a top 50 track of the last decade.
For real. And then you have was it Sunflower Seeds where Lil Wayne was on Flower Boy? Like whenever those two come together, man, like
yeah,
fire. As a Tyler fan, this album. As a Tyler fan from his entire discography, not just from a certain point, I just liked how he was able to take bits and pieces from all his older albums and just kind of come together with this immaculate, dope hip hop, decadent mixtape album, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
It's funny because I remember when the album dropped or when the singles were dropping, people were like, "Oh, Cherry Bomb Tyler is coming back! Like this sounds like Cherry Bomb this and Cherry Bomb that." I don't know if that was really like the main like
consensus.
It's just some shit that I saw, but now listening to the album and like now that we have like a full like few weeks after, that the album has dropped, I've been listening to it now and then pretty much every day. Um, I think it's just yeah, he grabbed like all the good parts of Wolf and combined them with where he's at right now in terms of production and rapping, and it's just like holy shit, man! Like he did it again. He did it again.
3 for 3.
I don't
Three
think
for three.
I think from now on it'll be really surprising if he drops bad music. Just because I think he's so invested in like crafting a sound, a whole artistic, you know, uh, aesthetic to each album now. He's investing into it. He's not necessarily just doing all of this just to appear cool and um, just drop an album just for like plays or anything. Like, no, this dude really believes like he's one of the greatest artists of this generation, and he is. I think he's really getting to that point now. Um, but like from now on, like I think he's set the bar at this point for himself since Flower Boy, and he's been inching it up a little bit more and more. Um, and just proud of him, man. Like who would have ever thought like the dude like getting banned from whole countries because because of not even suspect lyrics, straight up, you know, sexual assault and threats and violence in his lyrics, could get to this point. You know, it's crazy.
It's so crazy just to think like from the whole TDE camp for whatever. I'm sorry, from the whole of Future camp. It just I never expected Tyler to reach these heights, and then he just consistently went to a different direction, but continuously progressed. Like you said, this I'm still debating whether or not I mean it's only been like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so, so I'm still debating whether or not like this Call Me If You Get Lost is my personal favorite tape of his, because obviously Wolf still has a special place in my personal heart. But even like again, like even if you prefer Flower Boy or Igor for your own personal reasons, you can't look at this tape and say like, he degressed or he went back. Nah, like man just stays evolving. He might be taking different directions, but he just stays
Yep.
stacking up them gems, and it's beautiful. As a Tyler fan, honestly, if he decides to just like not release music for like 5 whatever years, like, I'm
Yeah.
not even mad.
Yeah.
I'm not even mad at that.
Not even mad.
Like if you decide, one thing though, I want to see, I need to see Tyler do more production work for other people for real though.
It's true. I mean, he does. I just hope he gets the respect now because, having like 42 Doug, NBA YoungBoy, I think this is Uzi's been on, previous song on Igor's theme, but now he's actually on the song rapping. Pharrell, I think that's a given. I think Pharrell would have worked with him, at any point in the past 5, 6 years with Tyler. But having those names and with Lil Wayne coming back again for a third time, um, like I just hope people are a little bit more appreciative of his abilities to produce because when you have like guys like Justin Bieber, Nicki Minaj, Zayn, um, kind of turning you down because like I don't know, maybe they don't really appreciate you or maybe they like look at you a little bit differently because you are this kind of crazy guy and like you're not really like a typical hip hop producer. And they just like like nah, maybe nah. But now like I think it's at this point where you can't deny this man's genius and creativity, and I think he sees things differently. He can make a beat like Hot Wind Blows and have Lil Wayne come on there and float on that track and then speed it up, at some point, and then come back in after that beat break and just tear up that production. And it's like, I think from Tyler's perspective, he had that beat in his mind. And of course, he's going to be like, Wayne needs to be on this. I think that's been his like MO with his production is always like, I know what this sounds like or could sound like, and I know who could really like shine on this track. Um, yeah, like I just think this at this point, man, give him his flowers, man. If anybody wants to hop on a track, with him, go for it because at this point you've got the whole Tyler fan base behind anything that he does at this point. Yeah.
What's your personal track on that tape so far?
Personal favorite?
Yeah, like right now.
Um, like I want to say like Corso or like Massa, like some of those like those songs that he comes up with, and he just he's rapping, but then it's also like it's not like he's like wasting any bar on there. But to me, like honestly, my favorite track on that project was Juggernaut. I just like the
It
way
was a juggernaut.
I like the way it comes in with that little like you think it's like some Flower Boy track, like okay, like we're prancing in the woods or some shit, and then you hear, and then it's like it just starts going in, and then especially like the little like music video that comes with it, like that's exactly like how it plays out like in my mind, you know, hearing that track, and then Lil Uzi comes in with the double C, um, Louis V on my feet, all those bars, and having like there are sirens on that track, but there's also like the telephone ring, and it's just like it brings you back a little bit to like the Neptunes, like nerd shit, like or just like that era, the like mid 2000s, like kind of beat with all those with everything going on in the background, and then you know Pharrell Williams comes in talking about the sun, saying that's us, and it's just a fun track, and I think it just encapsulates like every. I think Tyler like has like the best of both worlds on there. He's got himself in Lil Uzi, and then he's got his production that's influenced by like Pharrell, and Pharrell's on the track. Um, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I think it's like the perfect length. Everyone is coming through with the bars, and then Tyler is coming in with like his like inflections and like really like trying to like spit his game on that track. And I just think, yeah, it's a fire track. That's the song I come back to the most, honestly. And my favorite track, yeah.
That song reminds me so much of that one song off of the Wolf tape. What is it again? Trash Wang. That is the Trash Wang off that tape, if you ask me. That is the song that you have to. If there's any like whenever
I feel
functions
like
are
you're
back.
dissing my favorite track right now.
So what?
I feel like you're dissing my favorite track right now.
Yo, you can't be saying that. Yo, Trash Wang. That's a song for
I thought
that's a
you were gonna
song
say
for the
Damo.
Sunseekers.
I thought you were gonna say the Damo 23 of that of
I'll
Call Me.
give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I think it's Trash Wang, but I
I
can't
think
say
it's a parody song, man.
Trash Wang go hard, bro. I don't know about. I don't know what you're talking about.
I love listening to that song. Yeah.
But that being said, though, my go-to got to be between Massa or Safari, right? Because I just like the storytelling in Massa. Clearly, Reeves like laying down his progression, even explaining why Cherry Bomb quote unquote sounded so wonky, despite me really enjoying the tape. I definitely wasn't like Tyler fell off or anything, but I will say that's probably because I appreciated Tyler changing subject matter because the fact that he wasn't talking about his father issues and some of the more edgy stuff, which indicated like a progression in style, stylistical choices. I just thought that the mixing and mastering was peculiar. But it's a great. But the instrumentals are dope though. Like if you ever listen to the album as a beat tape,
oh yeah,
Tyler been that producer, honestly.
Yeah.
But so I like Massa or Safari, but I just like Safari because Safari just gives me like those morning rise vibes. Like if you listen to Safari in the morning, like when you just wake up, you just feel like, yo, nothing can stop you. Like I'm just gonna be on my game. And I feel like Tyler's always been spinning about, just do what you want, do what makes you happy. That's been Tyler's number one MO even since Bastard.
And I think the only gripes I have about the album, and they're not many, if anything, there's just like a few critiques. Our friend Captain Kirk Ed, is always like a big proponent behind, why are we shouting out this specific thing at every song? The whole interlude with the call or outros with like the call me if you get lost, like I'm like, I get it, but like, do I want this at the end of the song? Like every like this, I don't know, man. And then it's like, but what is that even like? I guess I have to look into it a little bit more. But like call me if you get lost. What do you mean? Like I I dialed the phone number. I got a ring. I heard the voice message. But why are we putting this on the album? I guess this is my only gripe. I don't hate it, but it's just like, when with some of those songs, and it's just like, oh, I gotta like fast forward this because I don't want to hear this shit. To be honest. Um,
I
and
feel
then
like I'm pretty sure some fan theories already out there for what that calming part is,
yeah,
but
I definitely think there is already. Um, and then I guguess maybe like I don't even really think it's a critique or anything, but like Wilshire and Sweet, they're a little long, so sometimes like in terms of like casual listening, like I might just kind of like fast forward or skip it entirely, but I don't really think it's really a critique. I think they're just long ass songs that I don't have time to listen to um, at some point during the day. But I'm telling you, man, song like Sweet, I thought you wanted to dance. That is like it's like he's always kind of done that, with like the two songs, like Gone Gone Thank You. What was that on Wolf?
or like the
Beamer.
party, the
Yeah,
three triple,
Party's
the
Over, Beamer.
party bonfire, Beamer.
Yeah, but
No.
now he's got these two ideas now. They're not just like songs that are just transitioning into each other. I think it's a good transit, good to kind of look over from that song on Wolf to what he did on Igor to now, which is like it seamlessly transitions now, and it's like it's something like I don't know if you like really listen to like old school rock, but like Pink Floyd would always have like these long songs, like 9-10 minute songs. It's like, why would I want to listen to this? But you listen to it, man, and it starts off at one point and then it just goes into this whole different direction. And Tyler is really doing that now. I think he can make these long songs, and yeah, they're a little bit long to listen to, but like it's a journey. Like it's not like some like it's not fodder. It's not like just filler music. Like it's this dude's really like achieving a new level of like song making now, like that fucking Pink Floyd does, like or did. It's like damn, like I can enjoy a whole 9 minute song with like in hip hop. Like when's the last time you ever did that? Like Last Call and like on
Oldie.
yeah. I mean, besides like a posse track.
Oh, then probably some Kendrick work. That's about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I'm proud of Tyler.
Tyler did his thing, bro. Like, if I had to be critical of the tape, which is hard for me to do right now. It's not even a critique because I like it, but I can understand why other people would view this as a detracting
Yeah.
point. This definitely, like, coming from the conceptual nature of Igor. Well, in fact, no, going from Flower Boy, where it's clearly threading conceptual grounds, and an Igor where I think he's really like honing into the idea of creating a conceptual album or conceptual body of work from start to finish.
Mhm.
This album probably feels more like I guess like a bunch of vignettes where, in fact, not even vignettes really, because I mean the connective tissues like Tyler's Balling and Do What You Want, and also like Heartbreak a little bit here and there because that's why he's balling, but obviously doesn't feel as cohesively complete, which I can see as people not particularly which people might be a little bit disappointed expecting like another holistic body of work. But in my defense, or like my response to that is this is just a decadent mixtape. Like that's the thing. Like maybe this isn't quite an album in the sense of like a consistent idea, but it definitely is like if it's
Yeah.
a mixtape, it's a damn good mixtape, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's a decadent album. It's very like there's no really like central theme. Everything's kind of loose on this project, but it all comes together seamlessly. And I don't think any song on here really. I I think every song here has a purpose. I don't think anything really like I would take out. Even like some songs that I don't just like really. It's not that I don't like them, but on it like maybe like some songs like maybe like Rise. Like or they hit, but just not on that same level. But I can see the purpose of that song on there. It brings back some of that feel, especially some of the keyboards.
Rise to the top.
Yeah,
Yeah, see, that's funny that you say that because the one song that I personally would take off the tape not based off any flaws, just based on my personal preference, is that long ass song in the middle. What is that? The double song you were just raving about.
What, Sweet?
Yeah, like I could just you could take that off the tape and I'll be completely fine. And not to say that the song is bad, not at all. But when Tyler was rapping, because he was rapping, then he brought a little bit of that ego energy. But no, keep that away from me. I want to hear more bars. Oh, that's because of the headspace. So yeah. I like rappers rapping crazy, right? It's a great song, and it's obviously a great song for progressing the emotional narrative that he has going on with the girl. But like, bro, like 9 minutes, like I want some more bars.
He's gonna do it.
Yeah. He's gonna. Yeah, no, I'm not mad. It's a great execution.
Anytime some Central Love theme comes in, he's gonna like come in with these types of songs, and he's gonna stop rapping.
Like I said, man, he did it really well. I'm not hating on it, but if I did the edit, that could have been a bonus track in my book. Hey, man,
I can appreciate that song a lot more than you can, I guess.
Okay, Drake.
But yeah, I think it. I don't really think it's a trilogy. I don't really get that part. I guess.
Wait, what I say? 3 for 3?
What? Yeah, it is 3 for 3. But in terms of people trilogy, like I'm just like it's really just his last 3 projects. Like,
yeah.
Wow, we're gonna call the next album if it's like also really good, like the quadrilogy or whatever the term is for that. Like oh my god, like no, the man's put out 3 great albums. Starting with Flower Boy. Yes, there's some things about that album that it's all. I get it. I get it. I do hold it in high regard. Don't worry. But then jumping from Flower Boy up to Igor, and now he's kind of like jumped to Call Me If You Get Lost. It's like shit, man. He's
on fire. 3 for 3.
He's heating up.
Hey, man, look.
Now we just we just need Frank. We just need Frank now.
I'm not even worried about Frank.
I'm not even talk about that.
I'm not worried about Frank. That man, he can take all the time he needs. True. But we definitely should have a future discussion at some point about asking which Tyler song is the best road trip music, or which best album is best for a road trip. Because I feel like Flower Boy just might be up there for road trip music. Yeah, we can talk about that later, but just think about that. Just think about that. Keep it in the back of your Chrome.
Typically, when I am on a road trip, like I make a playlist for songs that I don't want to skip, and there are a few songs on that album that I always skip. So, I might be
Tyler fans. Get them.
I might be on the aux getting that next, on some songs.
Tyler fans, get him.
Yeah.
Hey, man, but I mean, we're like halfway through.
I think what Call Me If You Get Lost is both in our top 3 right now.
Oh, definitely.
Albums that have come out. What's your top 3? I'm curious. So far,
I mean,
still live. So we're the halfway point, but yeah.
So Tyler, that Denzel 1.5 Unlocked, which essentially is a remix album from his Unlocked series from last year. Honestly, I've been bumping that religiously. It's kind of surprising that I might actually like the remix album more than the original one, but Denzel, man, he just stays heating up. And then a surprising pick would be the soundtrack for. Do you remember that? Oh yeah, the soundtrack for Yasuke, if you may remember. It was produced by Flying Lotus for like that anime on Netflix that came out back in April. It's about like the first Black Samurai or something.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I didn't even listen to that.
Well, as someone who likes Fly Low music, it hit.
Okay. I was not aware of this.
Hey man, if you like Flying Lotus or Thundercat, give it a check.
I guess Tyler's your number 3 on there, right?
Yeah, number 3. Come on now, bottom tier. You know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So 24K gold. He's like my top. You know what it is. S tier.
Interesting. I guess mine's a little bit more. Uh, I'll just say it. So I would put it at number three, and it just beats out the J. Cole album. I might listen to that a little bit more. I need to appreciate it a little bit more, but not that I'm not saying it's not top 10 of the year. Personal top three so far: Dr. Evil, a Young Nudie. I think
Hmm.
he's still crafting when he's on his own projects without any attached producers, like the project he had with Pierre Bourne. He always has this ability to craft this sound that's just like, and you know, he aligns his persona with the Chucky character. But man, when he comes through on an album like this, I don't, I know it's probably like in terms of like his his other projects that he's dropped, you know, over the past like 4 or 5 years as well. Maybe it doesn't like go up all the way to the top, you know, in terms of like the slime balls and Nudie Land. Um, but I listen to him and I'm transported to wherever the hell he's imagining. I don't know, he's imagining like some apocalyptic Atlanta, you know, but he does it for me. When I listen to him, I'm like, I guess this is what like people who listen to like G Herbo or like, I guess because not that they're similar, but like they're kind of like in that same kind of sphere of hip hop. Sometimes I listen to G Herbo, I'm just like, okay. I'll stop talking about that, but before they come at me. Uh, and then number two, Tyron by Slow Tie. That album is still. Do I even want to put it at number two? Yeah, I'll put it at number two. I don't think I'm not ranking these. It's just the second one. Is Tyron. Um, I think he created a piece of work on that fucking album. I think he came through. Features came through for the most part. And I like the double kind of, I don't know if it's concept, but coming in with the bars and the production on the first half, and then getting a little bit more serious and sentimental on the lighter half of that project. Um, and really like coming through with that. And then yeah, Tyler. Cool.
Sounds solid. Oh,
Yeah.
just for the fans though, like so if I had to order them, Tyler number one, Denzel 1.5 number two, and then Fly Low number three. That a Denzel tape, the reason that I really rock with it, it's just essentially culmination of all the artists that sort of are in that sort of Denzel tier list that just decided to hop on and do a verse. And they did some beat switches, which is always nice. So, you got Joey Badass on there, Benny the Butcher, Kenny Mason, watch out for him. You know, Shrino and a couple of other heads that just did their thing on that album. And
Yeah.
the soundtrack was just really fire. In fact, like if you're into Samurai Champloo, I think you should give it a chance because like Flylo did his thing. Like even though it's like background music or soundtrack music, you can listen to it just as a standalone piece of art.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Damn, bro, what you been doing?
I was actually listening to IDK's new album that came out yesterday.
Ah.
And Vince Staples' new album, man, we didn't really talk about that.
Now, see, Vince Staples deserves his own episode, man. That's a staple right there. That's
I don't know if it needs this whole episode. I'm not saying anything
hey,
about
man.
it. Just the album's very short. It gets to the point. It comes in, comes out, and I think we can kind of like close out on Vince a little bit. Just I don't know if you really have you listened to the project?
Yeah, bro, I was listening to it twice. All I gotta say is that like Vince and Tyler really glowed up from the OF days, if you think about it.
Yeah, I'm
Earl, where you at? I need an album.
nah. Earl can take his time too. He gave us Feet of Play Deluxe, which is fire. I think it's his I think I enjoyed that project more than some rap songs. I'm not saying that shit just to say it. Um,
We're gonna have
right,
a discussion about
but
this.
I think it's better than some rap songs.
We're gonna have a discussion about this, man. For another time, though. For another time.
But Vince, man, like I pressed play, like expecting like FM or Big Fish. Um, but then it's basically him kind of pouring his heart out a bit. Like it's, I was kind of taken back a little bit, because your initial reaction is like what is this? Because it's like not R&B, but it's like very like there's like definitely feeling behind the production. But I just think that's because he's trying to convey like a lot of the emotional shit in terms of like growing up in Long Beach, maybe not necessarily reminiscing on his past, but like his life now still, and where he's at, and maybe like realizing like, man, some of these friends that I lost, earlier in my life could still be here. And I think that's maybe like I forget how old he is exactly, but I'm assuming like mid to late 20s.
Yeah, it's like 28 or maybe 29.
Yeah, and I'm just like, it's a very mature album. Like I know like he hasn't never really been immature, but like the content of the lyrics, I listened to it twice too. Um, and it's not really like a depiction of like hood life, it's not like, let me take you through my hood. Like I think he's in the same way like any artist could talk about like what they're going through at a certain point in their life. I think he's really bringing up a lot of the same top themes, but the topic is like, like I've lost friends, I've lived this certain lifestyle, I've grown up around it. And I think with that music video was really kind of showing like, exactly what it's not what it's like to live, in Long Beach, but like, um, there's definitely a connection there that he's trying to tell us or share to us about. I think that's what he's doing. He's sharing like really like what's going on internally and like what he's going through in life, what he's been through as he's beginning to approach maybe like 30, his 30s or just getting older. I'm very like surprisingly impressed with the project because I wasn't expecting this.
The production took me aback, to be honest with you, but
Mhm.
I guess I wasn't as deeply listening to the lyrics yet, but I was just really impressed by songwriting abilities because Vince to me was always someone who I penned as like a great writer, but
Mhm.
maybe not necessarily the greatest musician in terms of like his musical execution. It's just more of like a quality rapper in terms of what he says, not about flowing on a beat or switching up. But I mean, he's been changing the game recently. Like ever since I want to say his feature on Revenge of the Dreamers 3. Like I definitely could tell he's like been working on his flow a little bit. Like Rocky would say, step your flow on, but just how he approached these different songs with the different production styles that I didn't see coming. I was like, wow, Vince is really, he's in his
Yeah.
artist bag a little bit. Like I see, I'm like, okay. It's not just another Vince Staples project, if you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
not to downplay any of his older work, because obviously we still bump it, but just
Yeah.
to see that he's taking his artistic endeavors to new heights. You gotta, salute the man for that.
Yeah. And I think Kenny Beats uh finally came through with a full project of great production. Um, I'm just kidding. I'm
Oh
just
damn,
kidding.
bro.
I'm kidding. No, but I think he got the memo. I guess he was working with Vince pretty closely because um not that the beats are all the same, but they all have like a similar aesthetic to it. There was one song that I was like, the production on here is a little bit muddy. I want to say it was like Lil Fade or Take Me Home. Um, but yeah, I just think the dude is really showing us and sharing with us like what it's like, what it's been like for him. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why he didn't have anyone featuring on this except I think what was her name? Uh Bushi? I don't know. And just doing some singing vocals on the track that she was on because maybe a feature artist could have. This is his story. That's what I'm trying to get at. This is his story. Does he need feature artists to kind of come in and maybe add in a verse or a chorus? I don't think so because he really does carry this project, and I think it's. I hope a lot more people appreciate this kind of work from him because I know he's always talked about Ramona Park and Long
North
Beach,
North.
Crippen, you know North. and that kind of lifestyle, and rapping about it. But now he's sharing like his feelings about all this, and we really don't get this kind of music, man. We don't really get to kind of see like how this kind of stuff affects, or like how emotion can be attached to like loss of life, growing up in certain parts of the country. Like we don't get this too often. So I think just given the fact about everything about this album, maybe not every category that you want to put this album under, like lyrics, production, meaning, concept, rollout, artists, like integrity, whatever. Maybe not everything is hitting a 10, but I think everything's driving it up, to a point of like, it could be considered some of the best work of this year from the hip hop genre.
And bro, you better give this man. You better make me cry.
I'm impressed, man. I'm really impressed. I was not from going from FM to this. Like, this is literally the opposite of FM. FM is like he's not even on it that much. He's rapping. It's cool. The features were cool. The production was cool, but it was so short, and he's just like, oh, I wanted more. And then he's like, all right, I got you. It's the same length, unfortunately, but yeah.
Man, he took a page from Kanye, man. Sometimes you only need 20 minutes.
Yeah. I was impressed. So, yeah, man. Looking forward to next week. See who drops. Keep our eye on the news. And then I think just waiting till July 30th. And
hey man, I ain't waiting for nothing until I see, my Apple Music.
I'm waiting.
I ain't waiting for nothing.
I'm waiting. I'm hungry. Been starving. Now it's like you're at the restaurant and you can kind of like see like is that my order? I think that's my order over there. But it's just sitting there, The waiter's out and about fucking around or some shit in the freezer, like going out for a smoke break. Bring me my fucking order, bro. I want this shit now. My shit's getting cold. It's been cold. But maybe you can reheat it and then like bring it back out to me.
Hey man, maybe they're just getting the final toppings, man. You never know. They might be giving you a little cookie on the side.
Yeah. Or maybe they just don't care. Fuck them. Fuck the customers. Maybe they're just like they'll get what they'll get what we serve them, and they'll be happy because they're gonna pay for it, and it's gonna be delivered regardless. And no, we don't take refunds.
I guess I know what we'll be talking about next, huh?
Yeah, I think the chef is like what's his name again? Something like Chef Top, or I don't know. I might just yeah.
Hey man, I don't know that man. He's not my dog, but we'll see. I mean, we'll figure out his name. Maybe get him on the phone.
Manager Punch or something. I don't know.
Just get the man on the phone, man. Find his phone number. You'll be good.
Yeah. All right, man. I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. Steady rotation up in your ears. Look out for the next episode coming out next week. We will be on this consistently a lot more.
Yes.
We out here vibing. And yeah, just feel free to reach out to us. Our socials are listed under the description. Make sure to follow us. Make sure to just look out for our notifications. We'll be posting a lot more too, and trying to connect with y'all. So, always appreciate the listens, and the interactions that we can have with y'all out there. So yeah.
And final message to the fans: just remember, the shots ain't bringing your soldiers back. Just remember.
Okay. You want to make them depressed, like as soon as we end the show? Cool. All right, we out here.
Peace.
We up out of here.